caught him out here lacking with no scrap, he need some help.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are back for another one. Alright, y'all. New topic. Is Terence Crawford asking for too much, expecting 50-50 for the Errol Spence Jr. undisputed fight? Alright, y'all, we've touched on this 1,000,001 times, 2,000,000 times already. But there are a few aspects of the price out or overpricing or the negotiation process that's still ongoing, unfortunately. I don't think they've completely come to grips with the money yet. So that means that, we have to open up this subject once again. Is Terence Crawford simply asking for too much money?
Somebody asking for too much money, I heard. You got to be reasonable, man. You know what I mean? I think it will happen this year. They got to do a lot of negotiation, that's all. Now,
I know every time I ask this question in the comment section, usually what people respond back with is, well, Terence Crawford did this at 130. Terence Crawford was undisputed. Terence Crawford was a unified champion. But he did all of this stuff in the past in a different weight class. And he hasn't done any of it as a welterweight or in the division of 147.
If you look at it, Spence, he got 3 titles? And Crawford only got 1? I can understand, where Spence is at.
So the question is, or I guess the way I'm going to have to frame this question is, does your past dictate your future in the sport of boxing?
You want to add all that what you just said about what Crawford did? I mean, I can understand that too.
What you've done in the past, should that be the measuring stick of how you're received in the future in the sport of boxing? And to break that down even further, I'm saying, okay, so let's say you're an undefeated fighter, i.e. Terence Crawford. You have had a lot of success in the boxing ring, but you had all of that success 2, maybe 3 years ago. The majority of your success you had 2, maybe 3 years ago. The majority of your tough fights were 2, maybe 3 years ago. And the fact that you were undisputed was 2, 3, almost 4 years ago. Should that be in the mind of the people you're negotiating with? Should that be an arguing point to negotiate a new fight? Does that have anything to do with what you're presently doing? Let's say a fighter like Canelo. Okay, Canelo started out at a lower weight. Manny Pacquiao started out at a lower weight. Now, what Manny Pacquiao, what he was doing, or what Canelo was doing when they first started in the sport of boxing, because I had this argument with somebody else the other day. They said that what Terence Crawford did in the amateurs shouldn't matter because he's a professional fighter now. I beg to differ, because if you go off of that arguing point, then he definitely doesn't deserve a 50-50 split, because you're arguing for him to get a 50-50 split based off something he did in the past. So if you can't go off the past, losses, then how can you go off the past victories that ask for more money? That don't make sense.
Spence, he deserved more than me. I just want to see the fight. 50-50 or 70-30 or whatever at the 147 pounder. I think Spence deserved more money.
So if you can't add in his past losses, whether they were professional or amateur or not, then you should not be able to say, well, he was undisputed, he did this, he was a unified champion, but he did all this stuff in the past, because the past shouldn't matter at this moment. And, when you got fighters like Canelo who have went through 3, 4, different divisions. You have fighters like Pacquiao who went through, 8 I believe 8 different divisions in boxing, you know, which is from 105 pounds all the way up to 154 pounds. What Manny Pacquiao was doing at 105 got to do with what he was doing at 154? You know, even if he was knocking guys out at 105, that doesn't mean he's going to be knocking guys out at 154, even though he did. He's one of the few fighters whose power carried all the way from the first division he was in and to the last division he was in. And, you know, that is, in the sport of boxing, that is a rarity. That is not the norm. So I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, if we can't speak about Terence Crawford's past losses, whether they were amateur or professional, which he has no professional losses, but he does have amateur losses. So if you can't speak about those and you can't compare the fighter he was then to the fighter he is now, how can you use that same argument to try and justify you asking for more money? And if you ask me, I think if you ask most boxing analysts or purists or fans, 9 times out of 10, you know, you're going to get the outlier every once in a while. 9 times out of 10, people are going to say, no, he doesn't deserve 50-50 because Spence has done more heavy lifting. Spence has 3 titles. Spence has had the harder welterweight resume. So if you base it off of welterweight boxing, what they've both done as welterweights, what they're both presently fighting at, the division they're presently fighting in, and we're basing everything solely off of welterweight boxing, he doesn't deserve a 50-50 split. If you have to go 5 years into the past to justify him asking for a 50-50, you know, what was Errol Spence doing 5 years ago? You know, the Errol Spence of 5 years ago is not the same Errol Spence of today, you know, so he didn't have 3 titles 5 years ago. So how could that guy ask for, you know, umpteen amounts of money? He's only asking for these higher paydays because he showed and he proved. He actually did what he said he was going to do. Terence Crawford, as a welterweight, it's a totally different argument. You can't bring up what he did in the past because it's not what he's presently doing. All that heavy lifting he did, he could dictate at 130. He could dictate at 140. If he wanted to remain a dictator in a division, he should have stayed where he was at. When you come into a new division, you either have to show and prove, win championships, or you're going to be dictated to. The same way he was dictating the other fighters at the lower weight classes. Now, how does he feel that he can dictate to Errol Spence based off something that happened in the past? You know, that makes absolutely no sense to me, and I think it's the whole reason that this fight hasn't come together. It's the whole reason, you know, we still might not get this fight, even though it's been promised to us, even though people are saying it's confirmed, it's not confirmed, you know, it's coming, it's not coming, it's coming in November, it's coming in December. ESPN said this, then we still don't know if the contracts are signed. So, at the end of the day, Terence Crawford is holding this process up, and it's all based off money. And the longer and longer and longer he holds this process, the more and more I feel like he's stalling because he knows he's going to lose, and he just wants that huge payday for losing.
Terence Crawford is holding on to what he did in the smaller weight divisions and what he did a long time ago.
Is that fair? Is that how boxing is going to be sold to us fans from now on? You know, where guys will hold something up for this long solely based off the fact that there's a high percentage chance they might lose, and they want a lot of money for losing. It's almost like the Rolly Romero effect. It's definitely the Floyd Mayweather effect, but Rolly Romero is a troll boxer who ended up getting a high payday for absolutely nothing. He got a high payday for being a nobody. And he got knocked out for that too. But he got a huge paycheck for it. So, let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But you're more than likely to get a response on YouTube. So holler at me over there if you want a response. It's your boy Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me. And I think we are out of here.
My paycheck came from Birmingham on 100 bags of deal.